Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are doing a full forensic look at the Oklahoma City Wranglers 2025 regular season.
And our mission for this deep dive is, I think, really clear. We have to look at this jarring contrast between the expectations for this team, Super Bowl champs, predicted 12-5 record, and the reality of where they ended up.
It's such a strange story. You expected a victory lap, right? A coronation. Instead, you get a team that starts 10-0 for the second year in a row.
Which has never been done before in the Super Bowl era. I mean, that's history.
Exactly. History. And yet, they end the season in such a state of, anxiety that they're facing this do-or-die wild card game against their absolute #1 rival, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This season was never about talent. We knew they had talent. This was a trial by fire. It was a test of character for that young core and a test of identity for a defense that became, let's just say became very, very opportunistic.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's start with the offense because, wow, the stats are just jumping off the page.
Yeah.
This Wranglers offense was historic, and it had 2 legitimate MVP candidates.
Right. You have quarterback Tyler Flannery and then running back Veer Nike. That's pronounced Nike. This is really where the whole story of their volatility begins.
Flannery's production is, it's just elite. No other way to say it.
It's unbelievable for a second-year guy. He ends with 4,584 yards, leads the league with 48 touchdowns, 72% completion. He's first in QBR. On paper, that's a Hall of Fame trajectory.
And it's a huge, but the shadow hanging over all of that is his decision-making. 16 interceptions. That is the exact same number as his rookie year. After an entire offseason focused on, cleaning that up, it feels like a blind spot the league now knows how to find.
And we saw it boil over, right?
Yeah.
The benching in Week 6 against Arizona. Coach Steele pulls him for discipline reasons after Flannery slams his helmet.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, was it really discipline or was that just cover for a terrible first half where he threw 2 picks?
Either way, it says a lot. It shows the pressure was already there. And the coach had to publicly, rein in the face of his franchise.
So the narrative is, okay, the quarterback is volatile. The safety net for that volatility then had to be the incredible season from Veer Nike.
Absolutely. Nike was the workhorse. He was the cushion that let them absorb Flannery's mistakes. He finished with, 1,993 rushing yards?
So close. Just agonizingly short of 2,000 yards rushing. And he almost broke Darren Sproles' all-purpose yards record, too. He ended up with 2,559.
He was everything. A top-tier rusher and the best receiver out of the backfield. That kind of dual threat is how you survive those mid-game mistakes from your quarterback.
But here's where it gets, I think, really interesting. The individual success of those 2 guys didn't always translate when it mattered most. And that brings us to what you've called the red zone paradox.
This is the key. This is the whole thing right here. The offense was #1 in the NFL in red zone trips. They could move the ball between the 20s better than anyone.
Flannery hits Tony Evans Jr. deep. Nyack breaks a 40-yard run. They get inside the 20 with ease.
But then the field shrinks. The windows get tighter, and the whole offense just seizes up. They were 30th in the league in red zone points percentage.
So bottom 3.
One of the worst. They only converted 51% of those trips into points.
51%. That's the definition of boom or bust. They are explosive in the open field, but the second you need precision and discipline, that's where the 16 interceptions and the inefficiency, that's where it costs them games.
5 of their first 8 games, all decided by a touchdown or less. That's why they were called the Cardiac Wranglers. The offense just wasn't built for those grinding drives. It was built for home runs.
And to be fair, they had the guys to hit those home runs. We should credit the receivers. Tony Edmond Jr. had a monster year, 1,164 yards and 20 touchdowns.
And Will McMahon, the tight end they brought in, he was huge. Over 1,000 yards and 12 scores himself.
Plus, you had that internal creativity from Coach Steele. Converting Rendon Rodriguez, that's Rendon, from free safety to receiver, and he immediately becomes a deep threat.
Or what about Jaden Way's 4-touchdown game in Week 8? That's a historic performance. The talent is there. The problem is the guy pulling the trigger in those high-leverage moments.
Okay, let's pivot. Let's go to the other side of the ball, because this defense is maybe even more of a psychological puzzle than the offense. You called it the chaos engine. Tell us what you mean by that.
Well, because if you just glance at the basic stats, they look mediocre. 17th in total yards, 25th in points allowed. The pass defense was 24th. You look at that and you think, that's a liability.
But then you see they tied for first in the league with Baltimore in total sacks, 53 sacks. That's not mediocre.
And that's the chaos engine. They don't care about giving up yards between the 20s. They prioritize disrupting the quarterback and forcing turnovers. And this creates a paradox on defense that perfectly mirrors the offense.
The defensive red zone paradox. Okay, let's break this down, because this feels like the core of the team's entire identity.
So get this. There were dead last-in defensive red zone trips allowed. Opponents got inside their 20-yard line 74 times. That's a staggering number. It means you're just bleeding yardage all game long.
It's an admission that you can't stop teams in the open field.
Exactly. But the moment an opponent crosses that 20-yard line, the entire defense flips a switch. They become the single best unit in the entire league. #1 in defensive red zone points percentage.
They only allowed points on 39% of those 74 trips.
39%. It's the ultimate bend-don't-break philosophy put into practice. They will let you march 75 yards down the field, but they are pathologically obsessed with defending those last 20. It's a mentally exhausting way to play football.
And you can see that mentality in their star players. I mean, strong safety, Kyrie Crash Out, the guy legally changed his last name to Crash Out. That tells you everything.
It really does. He led all safeties with 123 tackles, had 4 picks. He embodies that chaos. And his partner, Amir Shadim Span,
also known as the Predator.
Of course. He matched him with 4 picks and 14 pass deflections. Get this, those two guys, Crash Out and Span, they scored the team's only 2 defensive touchdowns all year. It just hammers home how much they rely on those splash plays.
And the front office was clearly feeling the pressure, too. You see all the personnel shifts. Trading for Mike Laywood to be the new Mike linebacker, then the midseason trade shipping out Sam Tyler Chrisman for Josh Metellus, who they immediately moved to Sam linebacker.
They were searching, constantly tinkering to find guys who could handle that high-pressure system. They threw rookie Devon Wilson into the fire after Salt McMahon got sent to the CFL. It was chaos by design and by necessity.
Even the kicker, Burt Baldass, kind of fits the story. He starts 7 for 11, looks shaky, but finishes 16 for 21, perfect on anything under 39 yards. Everything about this team is about holding on by a thread under pressure.
Which brings us to the moment where the thread finally snapped. The midseason stumble, that perfect 10-0 start, completely came apart.
And it started in the locker room, didn't it, after that Week 12 loss to the Chiefs?
That was the flashpoint. The reports of that heated argument between Crash Out, the veteran Cisco Garcia, and Tony Edmond Jr., it led to disciplinary action.
Yeah.
That wasn't just a loss, it was a crack in the foundation. The pressure cooker finally blew.
And that weakness, that crack, was just waiting to be exploited by their ultimate rival.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, they are the anti-Wranglers. They're precise, they're disciplined, and they punish mistakes. And this season, they didn't just beat OKC, they psychologically dismantled them.
The first loss was Week 14. Trevor Lawrence had a perfect QBR, 158.3, but the real kill shot, that was Week 17.
Oh, that was the big one. The 31-17 loss at home. OKC got trounced, and the media just immediately labeled them as frauds. And of course, Flannery throws 2 huge, costly interceptions.
Right back to the core problem.
And that loss cost them the #1 seed in the AFC. He went to Baltimore. Jacksonville didn't just win a game, they took their confidence.
So that final Week 18 win against a banged-up Texans team, it was a nothing burger. It didn't change the feeling. The feeling is that the Wranglers are nervous, and they should be.
And now they have to host the Jaguars at Brahms Field for the wild card, the 3rd matchup.
This isn't just a game, it's a test. There's real speculation that the winner of this game could, very well decide the outcome of the Super Bowl. Not because they're the best teams, but because overcoming this is the kind of character test you need to survive for a deep run.
Exactly. The Wranglers are facing the one team that knows exactly how to break them.
So, to synthesize this for you, it all boils down to this tension. You have an MVP-level offense that can't score inside the 20, and a chaos engine defense that only thrives on desperation. They started 10-0, but have been exposed twice by the very team they now have to beat.
The whole game comes down to one question. Can Tyler Flannery finally protect the football when it matters most? Or does that bend-don't-break defense finally just break?
Which sets up our final provocative thought for you to take into this game.
We have the stats. We know this defense is completely reliant on winning inside that 20-yard line. They stop teams 61% of the time once they cross that threshold, which is an incredible number. But does the psychology change this time? Does the pressure of a 3rd matchup against a team that has already picked you apart twice change the entire feeling of that philosophy? When they get backed up to their goal line on Sunday, will the memory of those last 2 losses finally make them crack? Or will that desperation fuel the one chaotic performance they need to survive?